Madam Betty, you have been a CEO of various bodies, including the Law Society of Kenya, the National Gender and Equality Commission. You've also been the Deputy Commission Secretary for IEBC. Now, with your wealth of experience from, your career journey, how have you prepared yourself? Well, how has the experience that you've had prepared you for the task that you're about to undertake if things go well as a commissioner with the IEBC?
Oh, thanks very much, through the chair. Through my career stint and my work experience, I've been able to acquire leadership skills because I've held very senior positions, albeit in secretariat level, that's at management, but this then onboard me into having a wealth of resource in terms of infusing leadership when you serve as a commissioner, if I serve as a commissioner. And at the same time, leadership comes in with accountability and responsibility, those of which I can demonstrate through my proven and demonstrable experience and track record, which are in file. For instance, I want to just intertwine leadership with even financial management. You cannot be a leader without having, for example, good financial management skills, which I possess, and the commendation letters from the National Treasury. For the years I served, each and every year I served as a CEO and an accounting officer. We had clean audit records, and therefore that's a very strong value that I on board if I hope to get this job as a commissioner, because then that is something we can do at IEBC. I know many audit reports from the PSC have a lot of queries, and therefore we can see how we can bridge that gap and reduce and have even IEBC, besides conducting clean elections, also having clean audit reports. I also bring on board policy and strategy skills, because I have sat with commissioners. I have been so humble to sit with the commissioners, with the chairpersons. So when we sit at the plenary levels, we're able to craft policy statements. We're able to come up with strategy, and therefore I have that knowledge base, and it's a skill I on board with me, which is very critical for the commission. At commissioner level, we'll need to craft policy. That's one of the roles, and therefore I bring in that skill. Crisis communication skills as well, because having been trained in crisis communication, and as well as having that rich knowledge base in crisis communication and how to handle the same. Elections is a very big project. Definitely, a spot here and there, you'll have a crisis that you have to either address or just see how to deal with, and therefore I bring in that knowledge base. Mediation skills, again, because I've been trained on ADR, the University of Sacramento, California, and as well as the Mediation Center Institute of the US. I have those trainings, and therefore that skill is very important. Dispute resolution being a very core issue that this Commission IEBC deals with, that's again a resource I bring on board. And as well as institutional knowledge, I'm not walking in as a new person. This is an institution where I have been. The Constitution is the same. The IEBC Act, the laws that I will find there, albeit the fact that they've been amended, is what I can resonate with as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and therefore it's also a critical skill I'll bring on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Betty, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you, Chairman.
I want to ask Carol Kituku to also ask you some questions. Carol, please.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning once more, Ms. Sungura.
Good morning.
Let's go to, I have two questions for you. Okay. And so as you know, one of the mandate of the IEBC is to conduct and supervise referendum. There have been 2 attempts in Kenya towards a constitutional amendment, and both have failed. 2 questions. Number 1, would you tell us why those 2 attempts failed? And then we'll come back to the second question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would say that the attempts to have the referendum law into effect have not been successful because of
Sorry. We have had 2 attempts.
Yes.
To amend the Constitution.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
And both attempts have failed.
Okay.
Would you explain to us, in your own understanding, why do you think they failed? The 2 attempts. You can tell us what they are and why they failed.
All right. I would say that, first and foremost, I would start with why they failed. The lack of goodwill. To have the Constitution changed is no mean feat. It takes for quite a lot of processes. And at the end of the day, it will even require a referendum in many events. It will require a referendum. As we speak right now, we don't have a referendum law. There is a lacuna. And I know there have been attempts to have the referendum law institutionalized or even put into place, but those have not succeeded. And would attribute those failures to maybe lack of political goodwill, right? Yes.
So maybe to provide some guidance,
right.
The 2 attempts have both ended up in the court system, right? There was the attempt of Punguza Mizigo, you remember?
Yes.
By Dr. Aukot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then there was the BBI attempt. Both of them ended up in the court system. And both of them failed through the court system. So would you please tell us why the courts did not approve of these processes? What was fundamentally the problem with them?
I would say that the processes had lacunas. They had gaps, and therefore when the court sat to give determinations to these matters, both of them actually failed because they did not meet the thresholds.
All right, let's move to the second question. Supposedly become successful to become a commissioner at IEBC, the mandate remains that IEBC has the mandate to conduct and supervise referendum. What then do you propose to do differently? Should there be another attempt to amend the Constitution? How will you guide the Commission to ensure that it delivers on its mandate?
All right. Yeah, thanks very much. To actually have this referendum process go through, one of the things as a commission that we'll have to embrace is have stakeholders onboarded, because we cannot just sit in the boardroom as commissioners and have this referendum law pass just by ourselves. We have to onboard stakeholders from a wide range of them, and then have open forums with them, have a lot of dialogue, have a lot of consultations. And I think most importantly, we'd also need to have conversations even with Parliament as well, right? So that we can also have, as the legislators, as the